a difficult 2 games, a Thursday, Sunday away from home at Tottenham and Fulham. So if you give me 3 points before the 2 games, I think I'd have taken 3 points off you.
Hello everyone and welcome to Claret and Booze. That's not my creation, by the way. That was it AD Hammer from Twitter?
Yeah, AD Hammer or Abdi.
AD Hammer.
Him,
yes,
yeah.
AD_Hammer. Very good, very good. I hope you're all well. We've just been keeping an eye on the Champions League scores. Not taking it for granted that we're not going to win tomorrow or anything like that, but it's obviously, look, we have got to be interested. And the teams were, I'll put them on the thumbnail. I think this is correct. Let's have a quick look at the thumbnail. It tells you the teams on now. The draw's on the 18th. So, as we know, Newcastle knackered it. They went 1-0 up. PSG went 1-0 down. Looked like that was going into the Champions League, and it all span around in the second half. Eddie Howe choked. So you got young boys, Galatasaray, Feyenoord, Benfica, AC Milan, Braga, Lens, and Shakhtar Donetsk. They're the 8 teams that go into the hat to play the 8 Europa League teams.
So they're the ones dropping out the Champions League.
Yeah, so they make there, yeah.
So but we could be drawn against another winner of one of the other leagues. I don't think that's how
it works.
I'm not sure it works, mate. If I'm honest with you,
I think they draw one. I think there's 2 pots, one from Champions League and one from Europa.
All right.
Yeah. So it'll be against one of them anyway.
Teams.
They're good teams, but there's nothing. I mean, AC Milan you wouldn't really want. I don't think.
You're going to tell me there's nothing you fear for? Come on, Nick.
We're all right. We're massive. We're massive, aren't we? Do you know what? I was almost half quite upset really, because you know the looking like PSG was going to drop into it. Now look, I know you wouldn't want to draw PSG, but come on, how good would that be? How good would that be over 2 legs? It'd be an amazing fixture, wouldn't it? Yeah,
of course it would be. It'd be like, you know, you wouldn't have dreamed of us playing PSG if you went back 5 years ago, would you?
No way.
But now with our European adventures, we're almost
yes.
At some point, you know what I mean? But but you see, Nick, if Newcastle would have settled for the draw, this is the conundrum there, right? If Newcastle would have settled for the draw there, they would have qualified for the Europa League.
They was being criticised for sitting back. I didn't watch the game because I was doing this, but the commentary was saying, Newcastle, what are you doing? Don't sit back.
Yeah, but then they started going for it when it went 1-1.
Ah, right, okay, fair enough.
When it went 1-1, they suddenly thought we want to stay in the Champions League. Then they started going for it a little bit. I think it was the centre back Fabian Schär. He went marauding forward, got caught out of position, and they broke and scored. So you could argue, was Eddie Howe being greedy chasing it? I don't know. How would you feel about that if that's what we did and lost out on it all?
No. Look, the thing is, Moyes low blocks, and we've conceded on average 2 goals a game at the moment. So that's 30 goals in. So I think. No, I think fortune favours a brave. It didn't with them tonight.
Yes,
but look, AC Milan went. I would, yeah. I wouldn't want to sit. I wouldn't feel comfortable sitting back. I haven't got a black eye, everyone. I've got a sty. But it is my eyes closing up. So I know John just wants to laugh at me. Fucking hurts.
What's wrong with
really
that? Wash it a bit more regular.
I know. Is that bad hygiene? Is that what that is?
I don't know what it is, mate. It's probably too much sleep. When you work from home, you probably lay in every day, didn't you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But yeah, it's closing up. I could do without my eyes closing up as it is. So yeah, look, we go. Hopefully, we don't have to play any of those teams anyway, because apart from anything else, the last thing that we need, especially with these bugs that keep going around, that keep on sort of hammering our fatigue, it's got nothing to do with the fact that the same 11 players keep on getting played over and over again. Just in case we do get another bug, we could do without another 2 fixtures, couldn't we? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We don't need that. And when would they be? Would they be in February?
Yeah, I think they come around again in February. The next lot of games in Europe. Yeah,
the qualifiers do, don't they? I think the qualifiers are in February, and then the group games, the last 16 starts in March.
Yeah. It's a long way off, really.
It is.
Time to recuperate. But I mean, we're in all the other competitions as well, aren't we? So it's
we are. For how long we don't know, but we shall see. It's a big few weeks. I mean, like I say, we've got this game's massive tomorrow. I do think it's huge. with the way that we're struggling at the moment, we don't need this compacted fixture list maintained. We need a break at some point. And all that's going to do is sustain it, because we've got AFCON coming up as well. We're going to be losing some important players. And there's also loads of players linked away as well. We'll talk about that. Loads of players linked away in January. Obviously, you would assume if players go, then other players would come in. You'd like to think so anyway. But yeah, tomorrow, John, Freiburg. Yeah. What are your thoughts? We won't talk about Tottenham no more, or Tottenham and
we're not going to talk negatively for long.
It's been done to death. So, what do you reckon tomorrow?
We got to win. It is a must-win game for me. Look, I'd love to see us take the game to Freiburg. We have to take the game to Freiburg. I think what are they? I think they're sitting 7th or 8th in the Bundesliga. We've got to take the game to them, mate. We've really got to take the game to them. But the problem is, we don't really know how the squad are feeling. After Sunday's defeat at Fulham, we don't know. We don't know the fatigue. We don't know the health of the players there. I mean, there's no injuries that I'm aware of since then. But it's just fatigue and players being knackered is a big enough thing. Do you know what I mean? But they've had a 3-day break now. You'd imagine,
But the thing that winds me up though, they've had 2 days at home, so that's going to help. That should help them. But the thing that does annoy me, sort of going back to the Fulham game, when you listen to David Moyes' comments afterwards, when he kind of says it was down to fatigue and then sickness, and he played these players anyway. And there are 2 teams in this country that have got strong under-21 sides. You've got us and Man City. We've got the 2 best teams in the country by a mile. Man City went away to Belgrade tonight and started 3 of their under-21s. 2 of them scored. They started 3.
Leipzig, wasn't it?
No, it was Belgrade.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. Go on.
Belgrade. So they went away. They played a right back, a central midfielder, and a forward. So he had loads of his players around him. So he sort of gave them a platform to succeed, and succeed they did. They scored goals. Because the thing is, right, I know a lot of people say, they're going to be too lightweight, they're this, that, the other, but when they're playing the way they are at the moment, they're playing every week, so they're match fit, they're sharp. You would like to think they're probably going to be sharper than the players that are sitting on our bench, wouldn't you? In terms of, like your Fornals and your Benny and players like that. They're probably sharp. They're probably sharper, and they're going to have more enthusiasm. Why would he not? I mean, we know why, but why would he not call on any of them? I know people say, not many clubs play youth players, but they just have. I think the problem with us is that most of the games we play in are becoming must-win games. So you're going to get even less of a chance to see the youngsters come in. I mean, I'm not saying you should only play them in dead rubbers, but obviously the Man City game tonight, they was already qualified. So he has the luxury of being able to give them game time, right? But the thing is, as we know, if Moyes would have played his hand correctly in the previous game, then this game possibly could have been a game where he could have given the youngsters a bit more of a go. But apart from that, you're right. I mean, if you got players that are not ready or haven't stepped up or whatever excuses that want to be peddled out there, and lacking sharpness, which is the most important thing, because you can be as fit as a fiddle. You can be as fit as a fiddle. Of course.
Match fitness is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And the youngsters obviously are playing in the under 23 league, is it?
Yeah.
So you'd imagine they're going to be sharper. I mean, I think,
and they're also playing lower league men's teams as well. They're not just playing kind of. So they are. They're really testing themselves. But do you think there'll be like a lessons learned within the club? Do you reckon after a game like that, do you reckon there would have been kind of a meeting? Do you think that Moyes would have had to have explained his thinking? Especially when he comes out and he says they're all fatigued, they're this, that, the other. There must have been someone in that backroom staff, especially Mark Noble, who was quite heavily linked with the academy, that come out and said, well, why are you playing players that are knackered? Surely that was an illustration against Fulham that playing your best players at half-mast isn't necessarily the best thing. If they're your best players, but they need to be fit.
But
do you know what I mean?
The thing is that, look, I'm going to go back to 2 weeks ago now, but the comments by Sullivan regarding Moyes not getting a contract at the end of the season puts the whole, I've said it before, it puts the whole club in limbo. So he probably feels he doesn't have to.
No, but even for him,
he doesn't have to explain himself, And he doesn't have to say, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? it's put us in such a state of, we're going nowhere at the minute as a club. And I don't mean that in terms of where we sit in the league and the fact we're in cups. I mean, we're stagnating massively to the extent where there's no responsibility. Responsibility doesn't have to be taken anywhere in that club at the moment, because at the end of the day, if we're all expecting a new manager to come in the summer, and Moyes knows he's out of a job in the summer, Moyes' job at the moment is to make his last season at West Ham look as good on his CV as possible. Now, whether that's win another trophy or just keep us in a good position in the league and go quite far in a European competition.
There is an element of that. I mean, I was listening to a conversation about that today, and it does feel a little bit like David Moyes has gone, well, this is all about Moyes now this season, isn't it? This is all about getting. Well, it is. It's all about, like you've just said, doing in terms of results, doing whatever he has to do to yield the best results for him, because it's all about the CV. It is all about the CV. When a season is through, all people do is they'll look back at the numbers, won't they?
The problem is if you tell anybody, if your boss said to you, right, in August, you're not going to be here any longer, carry on working as best as you can, what are you going to do? You're going to start putting your feelers out there. You're going to possibly try and make yourself look as good as possible to anyone else looking to employ you. It becomes a little bit of self-protectionism, which I understand. But if Moyes, none of this needed to be made public, and
no,
with all due respect, the boss Sullivan probably shouldn't have even had this conversation with Moyes. He probably just should have said to him, "We'll talk about it at the end of the year." But to bring it out publicly means that Moyes is straight away, he's backs up against the wall, and his job now is to focus on himself, really. And you can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for that. You can only blame Sullivan for that. That's what I'm going to say to that. You could, if you know you're going at the end of the season, why are you going to have any loyalty, though, Nick?
But I don't think he's ever had any fucking loyalty anyway, John. I don't.
No,
I mean, no, because not what it. In terms of talking, that's not the reason he ain't using youth players. I mean, like I say, we can go back to that Chelsea game where Elise was on the bench. He's never used them. Do you know what I mean? He don't trust them.
He's never done it in the past, but why would he now when he's got even more? When he's got even more foresight to look after number one, i.e. himself. We know he hasn't done it in the past, but he's going to do it even less now, I think.
What do you reckon is going to happen tomorrow? Do you think? I mean, we won't bother talking about lineup because we don't know who's going to be available. We haven't got a clue. Because we have got the old super bug flying around. Apparently, the old winter cold. So we don't know who's going to be available. But nonetheless. They're a good team. They're a good team, Freiburg. I think they've won like their last 4 games or something. And they steamrolled the 2 teams that we struggled against. So I know that we played Freiburg. We played Freiburg away. We had no fans. We beat them. We had a good first half. They had a good second half, didn't they? They equalised, and then we got the goal at about the 60th minute, I think it was. Aguerd, wasn't it? But they're not the same team now. They seem like they've got up to speed, and they battered TSC. They battered Olympiacos, 2 teams that we struggled against. There's a lot of stake tomorrow. I think both of those teams are going to want to top the group. They're going to want to avoid these knockout stages. So what? First of all, what do you expect Freiburg to do? Do you reckon they're going to be cagey, or do you reckon they're going to be looking at us thinking they're on the ropes? Let's fucking get out and get at them.
I think they probably. Mate, they've been scoring goals in their games in the Europa League. The last couple of games have scored goals. I don't think they're gonna give us a little bit of respect, but I think we're gonna probably give them far too much respect, and that might actually buoy them on. Because if we dare sit back like we've done in recent weeks, recent months, or pretty much this season, then you're going to encourage them, and the more the ball they have. And the longer the time ticks, the more encouragement that's going to give them, because, they're going to keep looking at the clock. It's still 0-0. There will be a point when they'll think, we got them here. We don't fear this team. We don't fear West Ham. And it's why we have to come out of the traps. I'll say it all the bloody time. We have to come out of the traps flying, but I can't see it. But that's what we need to do.
There's got to be a reaction from us. So after that, even if David Moyes doesn't want to, because I said this on a show a little while ago. It was actually from somebody in the chat made the comment. And it made me think, the TSC result, he said that could play against us because now we only need a draw. If we'd have not got the win in that game, we'd have had to have gone for this one. Would have had to have gone out and tried to win it. I do worry because we can't defend, so we can't play for a draw. No. And this team have got goals in them that they have.
Yeah, but Moyes is very good at getting exactly what he needs. If he only needs a draw, who's to say he's not going to go out and start and play for a draw? Because that's, ultimately he wants to qualify. And if it's a draw that's needed, is he going to go out and try and win it? I don't know, but he should, because the best form of defence for us is attack, because we can't defend like you say. You have to have the ball, and in fact, by having the ball, you're defending because the other team haven't got it. So by having the ball, keeping it away from the other team, you're lessening the chance of them scoring. It ain't rocket science, is it?
Let's address the elephant in the room, which has been the main reason for the last, fair enough. We won those games. We won against Burnley. We won against Forest. But for as long as I can remember now this season, we've lost every midfield battle, and that's one of the main reasons this season that we've been suffering. It is, and I know when Alvarez is in there, it helps because he throws his body on the line. But he's not. He's a great player, but he's obviously he's no Declan Rice. There aren't many players like that out there. But how do we address this? Because I think you've got the same opinion as well. It's an accurate assessment, I think. In football, it's well known in football. If you lose a midfield battle, nigh on, you're gonna lose the game. And James Ward-Prowse and Soucek, they're not a good two in the middle, John, are they?
No, but this is the point. You see, what's happening is that I do believe that with and Soucek has scored some goals this year, yes, and Soucek has scored some winning goals.
And James Ward-Prowse has assisted. They've both done great, but they're also one of the reasons why we can't control the game.
The problem is they can't play as a two together. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But if I had the choice of which one of them I'd start, it would always be JWP. But the problem,
more advanced.
More advanced position. But the problem with that is, as we know, is that Moyes isn't going to get rid of Soucek because of Soucek being, 2023's answer to Mario and Fellaini. So the problem is that it's always going to make JWP look far worse a player than he actually is, because we know Soucek's limitations. We know what he does and doesn't. We know what he does and doesn't offer. But the problem with that is I do believe that because of them playing as a two together, it's really, really hindering James Ward-Prowse. And like you, Nick, a lot of fans are questioning what he's been up to the last few games. But my argument is that James Ward-Prowse is a fantastic player, right? But he's not world-class Declan Rice's level. So he can't carry...
He's a different type of player for a start.
Yes, but he can't carry Soucek like Rice did for so long. Right, that's the difference between JWP and Rice.
I think JWP is potentially a match-winning player, and he's because the assessments that I've read about him before, where he was described as a luxury player, but a luxury player worth having. So what that means is you've got to put him in a position where he can fucking benefit you with you use the tools that he's got to your advantage. He's got a great right foot. He has got good instincts in the box as well. If a chance falls to him, he'll finish it. I just think you've got to get him further up the field. I would say he's worse than useless playing deeper. Yeah, worse than useless. He really is.
Yeah, he is, and especially when you're having to do almost a 1.5 man job.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Soucek. If you look at the first goal, John, that Fulham scored the other day, Polina had like half an hour to pick that cross out. Yeah. Far too much space. We're not closing down from midfield, so he's really got to address it. But how long do you reckon it will take? Because going back to what you said, where Moyes only cares about Moyes this season, then it's about getting the results for him. Surely then he's got to see that this is an issue, and I think he has, because that's why I think we've reverted to this long ball tactic, where Aguerd is all of a sudden, we're getting the ball out to Aguerd, and it's route one all the time. We're bypassing midfield.
Yeah, I don't think Moyes would be expected for Fulham to have smacked us 5-0. I know. I think
it's been coming, though, isn't it? It's been coming, though.
I don't know if it's been coming, but it didn't surprise us. I wouldn't say I was expecting to be beaten 5-0 by anybody, but with the limitations we've got in centre midfield, with the fatigue because the players are playing so regular, you can sort of understand it, and Fulham are on the up a little bit. But I mean, I don't know where. To me, Moyes is all about at this season. Moyes is all going to be about damage limitation to his own reputation. So for me, tomorrow, Moyes will go out and he'll play for the draw. As much as I don't want him to, I genuinely don't want him to.
I'll tell you what, I do believe, because you get a different crowd.
It's a dangerous game going out to play for the draw.
It's a different. You get a different crowd on those European nights. They're obviously not. They're not all the regulars. And I do think that if it goes well, it'll be great. It'll be bouncing in there. But I remember the Frankfurt game that I went to a little while back, a few years ago in the Europa, and it was fucking toxic in there. There was West Ham fans fighting each other.
Yeah, I've had a few little arguments myself at some of the European games. I don't know why it's a different crowd, if I'm honest with you. I don't really get it.
No, I know. But I do think if he comes out slow, especially after that 5-0, and it don't go to plan, I'll tell you that crowd will turn, and it'll be. And the thing is, once that happens, how do you reel that back? You know, because that's obviously going to bleed onto the pitch.
The thing is, as well, is that obviously all the managers you come up against, they do their homework, right? So the Freiburg manager would have done his homework. He would not be expecting us to come out the traps flying. So why don't we give him the complete opposite to what he would expect? A
normal person would do that.
Yeah,
but David Moyes won't.
You're playing into their hands, isn't you, by just coming out and being exactly the same. I mean, Andy Walsh makes a good point here when he says Moyes plays James Ward-Prowse at CDM and Soucek as an attacking midfielder. Bizarre.
Well, do you remember when he did that with Downs? He brought Downs in, played Downs in the 10. I mean,
but that to me means that he doesn't actually trust Soucek to do the defensive side of things, does he? Does he?
What? And he trusts James Ward-Prowse?
Well, he must think that James Ward-Prowse. He either thinks Soucek can't do it, or he thinks Soucek offers more in an attacking sense. It's one or the other.
Because we've had this argument before, and if you're going to play, because for instance Alvarez is a very basic player. He's basically a defender in front of the defenders. That's what he is. And I said before, and I think you laughed at it, with some of the players that we got on the bench, if you played a Mavropanos or a Kehrer in that role, that would give you more of a shield than James Ward-Prowse. It would do. If you're desperate, if you've got no other options, I'd rather play a Kehrer than say a Connor Coventry, because I don't think Connor Coventry is quite. He's a CDM, Connor Coventry, but I don't think he's a top level player, unfortunately. No, but I do think Kehrer could be the answer there. You know, because the good thing is with players that are a little bit prone to the odd mistake and the odd lapse in concentration, it's not the end of the world if you're in CDM because you're not the last line. But you can be quite rash. You can dive into tackles. You can be aggressive. Kehrer's good at all of those things. So if you're desperate and you need someone to come in,
he doesn't fancy Kehrer, Nick, at all. Something's happened with him and Thilo Kehrer because, I mean, when Thilo Kehrer first came in, I was fairly hopeful. I remember saying to you, I could see him being captain material because I couldn't believe he was shouting so much.
He's a leader. Remember? He's a leader. Yeah.
So I don't really know what's happened there. I think something's happened behind the scenes.
I just think with Moyes, once people drop out of favour, they drop out of favour. Look at Cornet, you know.
This is a good point from West Ham Ryan. Soucek offers more in the box. He gets a lot of headed goals. Now that's right, and I agree with that, and stats would show that. But the problem with that is then James Ward-Prowse would then, where are you going to play him? You're going to play him CDM where he can't do that job.
And 9 times out of 10, Ryan, those goals come late in a game when we're throwing a kitchen sink at it, when we're trailing. That's when we're throwing crosses into the box. That's when Soucek is kind of at his most dangerous, is at the end of the game when we're like I say, when we are throwing a kitchen sink. But go on, mate.
So Sam sort of picked up on what I said here about not trusting him to play CDM. Soucek is too sloppy on the ball to play CDM. That's a very good point. We always laugh at his passing.
I wouldn't trust him.
About how much he gives the ball away. So can you imagine him playing?
Yeah. Oh, but he has done it before though. He has played that deep role before. You know, when he's been here. But I mean, if that's the case, if you're saying that Moyes doesn't trust him on the ball at all and positionally, then why is he always like the first name on the fucking team sheet?
Because of what Ryan said, the late headed goals.
See, this for me, I said this on my show the other day, and I think it's so true. You know, we don't really tend to win as a team. It's all about individuals winning games, and that's why he's got specialists in the team. That's why he's got James Ward-Prowse in case we get a corner. That's why he's got Soucek in case, you know what I mean, in case he needs to get his head on it. And that's also the reason why Paqueta, even when he's playing shit, because he's got the ability to do what he can do. he won't take him off the pitch because he can produce that moment of brilliance, and that's why he leaves him on there. And I think Paqueta is a player that does need to come out, especially if he's carrying an injury, John.
Oh yeah,
he needs to come out.
He needs to come out. Of course he does, because you're just flogging a dead horse, and it could do far more long-term damage. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, you'd hope that would come from the medical staff, and obviously they relay that to Moyes, and Moyes makes decisions accordingly. But is Alvarez? What's happening with Alvarez? Is he in tomorrow? I can't even think.
I don't know. I mean, you would imagine so. I mean, apparently Fornals was the worst affected of all of those from that bug. He played the first 45 minutes. So, you know, I don't.
He wanted to say, "I told you so." He's shit. That's why I don't play him.
No. But he was the worst affected, and the thing, do you know what made me laugh in that game as well? I know Creswell was a problem, but you had all of those players that were knackered, like the first 11. But the two subs that he made at half time were Creswell and Fornals.
Yeah,
the two you would say fresher players, if you like.
But you know,
the two players that he pulled off.
But listen, I'm not anti-Moyes, you know I'm not, right? But that, to me, stinks of... That's why I don't play these two. Look how crap they were first half. I put them off because they were shit. That does to me... I've said this in the past about Moyes. That is almost like a told you so moment. That is an I told you so moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying many people have been called in for Creswell to come in. Obviously, they haven't. But
and I don't think that's to the fans either, because like I said, 100%, especially now we've got Steidten, you've got Noble in there as well. He will be questioned, John. It will happen. He will have to answer for why he does certain things. People will question him. They will. Why did you do that?
They might question him, but what does he need to say? He's not trying to keep his job because he knows he's got no job at the end of the season.
Well, he's got to try and knock.
But what's going to happen?
Well, getting sacked ain't going to look good on his CV, is it?
They won't sack him, Nick.
I think they will, mate. In the end, honestly, I think they will in the end.
There's nothing he can. If we go out of Europe, do you think they sack him for that?
If we go out of Europe,
if we go out of Europe, if we go out of Europe in the next round, do you think that's a sackable offence for them for him?
No,
it's not.
If we go out of Europe, I think it is.
No. Do you think that Sullivan would think it's a sackable offence with 3 months left to the end of the season?
Well, I think that's the only reason he was still in the job last season, was because of the European exploits. He'd have been gone.
I know, but listen what I'm saying to you. If Sullivan has said you're going in May, if in February we get knocked out of Europe 3 months before the end of the season and he's going anyway, why would they sack him? That's what he's not going to be sacked, mate. He's almost unsackable because of the situation where he doesn't have to prove himself anymore. He doesn't even have to answer to anybody anymore. He doesn't. He's going into the season anyway.
He fucking does have to answer. He will be answering to the fans. He will be.
He doesn't. He does. What fans? The ones that don't make no atmosphere in the stadium.
When he goes away, he got both barrels. As Gary said the other day. So what do you reckon then for the game? What's your prediction?
I'm going to say 1-1 draw.
You're going to say 1-1 draw.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say he's going to go for the win, and we're going to do him 2-0.
It's optimistic because a draw gives us top billing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course it does. Yeah. But I think if he plays for the draw, we won't get one. That's my worry. I think we'll get.
I haven't seen the interview, but West Ham Ryan says if you watched a pre-match interview for Freiburg, Moyes actually looked defensive on coming top. I actually have a slight feeling he has some pressure.
Oh no, he does have pressure. Of course he does. I mean, as we know, Sullivan's made a dick of himself again, hasn't he? Because he knee-jerked after the Fulham game, put out a story saying that the next 2 games are very, very important, kind of indicating that if he loses them, he could get sacked. And then the very next day, he retracted it again. So it's twice this season that he's done that. Now it's quite scathing, really, because it was a response to the Carrick rumour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a response to that where he came and I said to I said to Matey boy about that. I was talking to him about talking to Len about that. And he said he's completely dismissed it. He's gone mad. Oh, the Carrick rumours, bollocks, this, that, the other. Well, he ain't never gone like that before. He's never gone like that because there's been loads of rumours. There's rumours with Will Steele. There's rumours with Arne Slot. There's rumours with all these others as well. He's never come out publicly after a rumour and gone, no, it's not Carrick. Don't be stupid. To me, that says that there might be something in that one. Now, I don't know 100% whether I want Carrick, but that to me says that because obviously Carrick's still in a job. And the information that we got was obviously that it's been agreed, but the bloke's in a job and it ain't going to happen until the summer. So you'll never find out who it is. No. So it just makes me wonder the way he reacted, like overreacted, is whether there's something in that. I mean, I hope not, because it's not. Look. If Carrick came in, I'd be fine, because I quite like the style of football that Carrick plays. If as long as Steidten said that's okay and he's chosen him, that's fine. New direction. But the one that I really want is the one that we are heavily linked with, and that is Arne Slot from Feyenoord. He makes what's his name? He makes Postecoglou look defensive.
Yeah. The thing is though, is Arne Slot too established for the long term? What I mean is, if this is a whole project and that, do you not think that Carrick would be the more obvious choice because he's young, he's hungry, and all that? I'm not saying I want him over him. I'm not saying I don't fancy Arne Slot.
He's not an old manager, and he was. Don't forget, Tottenham went for Slot before they went for Postecoglou. And apparently, the reason that he didn't go to Tottenham was because of their track record with managers, and the fact that he knew that they was losing Kane. He basically his thought process was, they'll be on me straight away. I won't have a chance there, and then Levy will just get rid of me. But one thing I suppose that you got to say in Sullivan's defence is, apart from with Pellegrini, he does seem to, once the manager's in place, he seems to sort of leave him to it, doesn't he? He don't sack him.
No,
he rarely sacks. So in that sense, that might be attractive to someone like Slot, because someone like him, if he's going to come in and try and do what Postecoglou's done, not every manager is going to be able to do what Postecoglou's done like that, bang, straight away. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer. And if you look at the guy from Bournemouth, he started really slow.
Iraola?
Yeah, he started really slow. It was looking really iffy for him, and now he's fucking flying. Yeah, they can't stop winning.
He's got them all buying into it. He's actually made Solanke. He's actually made Solanke look a half decent player, because I've always questioned Solanke, like underrated. I think he's totally crap, but he's looking good the last few games. But I think that whoever comes in is got a huge opportunity, because we are a massive club. Right? We are a massive. I know I'd say that as a West Ham fan. We're a massive club. We've got a fantastic stadium in terms of capacity. We've got fantastic fans, no matter what anyone wants to say about lack of atmosphere from the fans. and you've got Tim Steidten in place, who will get you the players you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. However, I don't think that we're being left in quite as good a state as what people like to say. I know we've had a good time under David Moyes, and we finished 6th, we finished 7th, and we won the cup. But he spent almost $500 million with hemorrhaged money under him on Haller, on Anderson, on Vlasic, now on Cornet, who's going to be going out. You know, the Skamaka. We've hemorrhaged a lot of money there, so it's probably closer to 600 million when you look at the money that we've lost on assets that he already had. And when you look at this, John, because you made me think of this earlier on when you sent that text, sort of going through the list, right? We can delete these as we go. Yeah. Right. So this is the current squad of players. Now I don't know if you got the link in front of you, but we are heavily linked, and I don't think anyone will be upset to know that Aguerd is linked elsewhere. Obviously, you've got Saudi clubs that are interested, but the most interesting link is Lyon. So Lyon, who are struggling in Ligue 1 at the moment, they're sort of down the bottom. They had sanctions put on them, didn't they? Well, they've had those sanctions lifted now to a degree, and they've got around about 65 to 70 million to spend, and they're massively targeting Aguerd and Benny as a double. Whether they'll buy both or they'll buy one and put a loan in for the other, but both of those players will be gone anyway, I think. So if you look at that straight away,
whoa. What do you mean? What do you mean they'll be gone? You mean they'll jump at the chance to move to Lyon?
Jump at the chance? Yeah. But I think they will. No. But what I'm doing is, John, it's either going to be January or the summer. I think these players will be gone. So we're going to look at what David Moyes is leaving behind, because apparently he's leaving us in an amazing situation after all that money spent. So Aguerd's going to be gone. Fabianski won't be here. Ogbonna's going to be gone. Where are we? You've got Creswell. Creswell's gone. He ain't even on there. So I'd already taken off. I don't know why Nisri's on there. 3. No, he's. He is. He's there. Right, he's gone. Kehrer's going to be gone. He wants out.
You said Cornet's definitely going. 17.
Cornet's definitely going to go as well. Danny Ings won't go because we won't be able to sell him. Ben Rama's going to be gone. Fornals is going to want out unless whoever we know he's got a year's extension. I'll leave him on the graphic anyway because I'd like to think that he's going to stay. Johnson's going to go because his contract is running out and they can't get him to sign a new one, so he's going to be gone. And who else? Who else is there? So that is going to be what we're left with. So at the end of, I'm not saying that we ain't going to sign anyone in January. So we've spent in this 3.5 year period. It'll be 4 years by the time he leaves. So around about half a billion, and we're going to be left with these players. Bearing in mind, Zuma's got no knees, and he didn't have any knees when we signed him. When Moyes signed him, you've got Soufal, who's getting older and older. Ward-Prowse is going to be 30. Soucek's going to be 30. Fornals is going to be approaching 30. Ings is fucked. Antonio's going to be 34. How can this be? And then you've got Mabama, who hasn't signed a contract yet. We can't get him to sign a contract. He's the other one. He could be gone.
Also, people are adamant that Paqueta will go City in the summer, aren't they?
And yeah, that's the other one. So Paqueta apparently will. Yeah. So if you go on the City forums at the moment, not the forums, if you go on City Twitter, all you can see is them talking about Paqueta and the ITKs for City is saying that they are expecting, because they're not doing well at the moment this season, they're expecting City to trigger his clause if his clause is active in January. I don't know. I thought it was the summer, or maybe when it would be the summer, wouldn't it? But yeah, so he's another one that could be gone. So you imagine if you take him out, that could be what you're left with.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say about all of this, Nick, and whilst I don't disagree with you in terms of some of them players are going to be unhappy, and obviously you've got the ones that are going to be retiring, the situation is that the people at the club, like Noble, like Sullivan, like Tim Steidten to some extent, Sullivan, I should say, they need to now work out that if the new manager coming in needs to see this full squad, they will need to speak to these players that are unhappy under Moyes and say, look, you need to wait till the summer, because in the summer, it's going to all change. We've got this new guy coming in. We've got a new philosophy. You know, I don't know how well that's going to work, because some of those players look absolutely downtrodden and look like they want to leave yesterday.
Ching Chang Waller's made a good point there. If you look at that graphic, it's depressing. But if you look at the amount of money that we'll be bringing in, the fact we're not spending in January or the summer, we're stockpiling cash at the moment. More room for starting to build a new team.
Yeah, that's a great positive to look at it. Of course it is. But the thing is, I don't see much movement in January either way, purely because I think the club will want the new manager, whoever he is, to see the squad at its full capacity and make his own mind up if he isn't already looking from the outside.
Yeah.
Right? The new manager, whoever that will be, will need to see this squad in more detail, up close and personal. So the club, unless a player and that player's agent, let's say Cornet, is absolutely adamant he wants to leave, nothing else will make him stay, then obviously you need to get rid. Right, but
mate, he's going to be livid. Cornet, right? His country, it's I can't think of what's his national. I can't think what it is. Wherever it is, I heard earlier on. No, it's being Ivory Coast, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's being hosted in his home nation, and he was dropped from the last international squad because he ain't playing football. He will be fucking devastated if he doesn't go to that AFCON. He really will.
He's only got a few weeks to play, because it starts in January, doesn't it?
But the thing is with that, right? We know that David Moyes has got the ump with Cornet, because obviously when he had that issue, he went back to France to get it looked at. But how long do you hold a grudge for? How long do you punish someone for? We know that the guy is obviously out of favour now. He is. I mean, he looked fucking sharp as anything when he came on the other day, didn't he? For that small period. I mean, I'm not saying he's a world beater, John, but in the situation that we're in, I mean, don't forget for Burnley and for Leon, he's played left back a lot as well. When Emerson was out, I know. Look, we all like Creswell for what he's done in the past, but Creswell's no good now. He don't even want to be here. You know, he tries to force his way out. You got to fit Cornet on the bench. Why wouldn't you use Cornet there? Or Johnson? If you want Johnson to sign a new contract, play him.
Well, look, Johnson's just gone backwards beyond belief. You know, I feel so sorry for the guy. And people will say he's a championship defender and all that. But the problem is not being played is not going to help your form. If I wouldn't mind if the person,
and when he is played, John, he's never in the same position.
Well, no,
he's always.
But I wouldn't mind that if the person keeping you out of the team was absolutely flying, I'd understand it. But when the person keeping you out of the team is either knackered or not on form or making mistakes, then how is that going to fulfill you with anything other than regret and hatred almost towards the manager?
Well, do you remember last season? Soucek probably had one of the worst seasons I've ever seen from a player.
Exactly.
To be playing constantly week in, week out. And we had Lanzini, Fornals and Downs on the bench, sitting there watching him.
Yeah.
You know?
But that works twofold, because what happens then is the players who can't get on the pitch in place of that player who's totally out of form. So let's go back to the Soucek situation. They're going to resent the manager, going, fucking hell, you think that this player performing 4 or 5 out of 10 each week is better than me because I can't get on the pitch. And then it makes the fan base hate the player that Moyes is continuously playing, because they're going, fucking, why are you playing that donkey? Right?
I know.
So it works twofold, and no one's a winner in that situation. No one is the winner, because you're just flogging a dead horse, and you're denting confidence of players who you need to keep confidence up, so that when they do get an opportunity, whether it be by hook or crook, that they're raring to go. Because more often than not, when our squad players come in, they don't offer anything, because they look like they know they're there just to make up the numbers rather than get a real opportunity.
He says that, John, doesn't he, in press conferences? He makes that reference as well. So when he's, the excuse he gave for not making changes, I think he made one change and he brought Fornals on in one of the recent games where we were shit. And his excuse was, I just didn't think that I had anything on the bench that could have changed anything, What does that say to the players that are sitting on the bench?
Well, I think this is a great point here from Romulus Lucina. We need to stop blaming the players for their performances. Blame the manager. Players naturally go through purple patches.
I do, yeah.
And dips in performance. Got to rotate, bring them back to form. And this is the point. I said this 2 years ago when Antonio was being constantly lambasted by the fan base. I said the only person to blame is Moyes, because he's still throwing him on that pitch when the geezer could hardly walk at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the problem. He somewhat ruins players' reputations, and to some extent, maybe careers. And that sounds a bit far-fetched.
He does, but no. But Johnson, you remember Johnson when he came in? Johnson was phenomenal. He had a run of games. Like, he came in at a really bad period. We was playing City, we was playing Liverpool, weren't we? And I think he had a stupid stat at first, Johnson, where nobody had dribbled past him. He was great at one-on-one duels. And Soufal recovered, straight back in the team. Johnson's gone. Yeah. You remember Soufal threw his toys out the pram, didn't he?
Yeah, and I agree with this comment from Ryan. Honestly, what an outrageous comment from Moyes. Our squad has never been so strong. I agree. I'll try explaining this to my mates who don't support West Ham, that our squad now is better without Rice, and that's not me saying we don't miss Rice. We do. Right?
I don't know whether I can subscribe to that anymore.
No, but listen, the squad is better. We got Kudus, James Ward-Prowse, and Alvarez.
It's unbalanced.
Replace Rice.
But it's still unbalanced. We still haven't got. It's still unbalanced.
It's unbalanced.
John, our midfield last year was fucking Paqueta, Rice, and Soucek, and now we've gone from that to Ward-Prowse, Soucek, and Alvarez. That is not in the same league.
Okay, but in both seasons, in both the midfields that you mentioned, who is the one common denominator, in your opinion, that's the problem throughout?
Yes, Soucek always has been.
Okay, so who's unbalancing the team?
And the thing is, Declan Rice had the talent to carry him, didn't he?
Yes, but are you telling me that James Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, and Alvarez wouldn't be a good three in midfield?
No, he would do. Yeah. Well, we saw against Arsenal. And that was Soucek, Alvarez, and Paqueta. Those three in the middle, and they were brilliant. And it'll be the same. It'll be the same with them. But I mean, say you're the manager, John. Yeah. You've got this group of players. Let's say, for instance, Alvarez is not available. Emerson will be. So I'll get him back on there in a minute. Emerson will be, because he managed to play 45 minutes, so he's not that bad. But let's say Alvarez is out. What would you do with the players that you've got available at the moment? Sort the midfield out first.
Mate, I would do something a little bit left field. I would, you've suggested Kehrer. I can't see that happening, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say Mavropanos couldn't sit and do an Alvarez role? Because
100%.
Alvarez is a converted centre back anyway. So why not put Mavropanos there? Another protection. It's almost like 3 centre halves, but it's play him a little bit further forward. Do something different, and then have Paqueta. For me, Paqueta and Ward-Prowse in front of him, almost like 2 8s.
It's either that, because don't forget, Kudus and Paqueta are the same player. Their best positions are in the 8. The pair of them, where they've played before, they can both play in advanced positions. We're using Kudus for his pace, but he's more than that. He controls the game. So for me, I absolutely would. So both of us will drop Soucek out, wouldn't we?
And people will be shocked at that, and I get it because of his goals. But apart from the goals, if he hadn't scored these goals this season, what more could you put down that he's done?
No, that's it. Bowen's got to get out. Bowen's got to go on the right, hasn't he?
Gary's passes.
Would you put Bowen back out on the right?
Yeah, I think it's a waste putting him in the middle. I really do. I think he offers so much coming in from the right. It's where most of his successes, if not all of his success at the club, is coming in from the right. So why would you suddenly play him up top? And then I'd put Mbama.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do.
Because
then you've got a target. You've got someone you can aim at, and he's got all that pace around him.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's hungry, he's fresh, he's still playing for the under-23s in the EFL Trophy and whatever else. But with Bowen on the right, why are you taking someone out of the way from where they are phenomenal for us?
Right, elephant in the room, John. We saw the other day. Zuma, he's going to have to be rested. He was shit. Yeah, he was shit the other day. He was really bad, and we know it's down to his legs. We know he basically can't play. He can't play 2 games in a week, can he? I think that's quite common knowledge now. So he would have to come out, in my opinion. So for me, this would be the game for Kehrer. It would be.
Yeah, if Zuma needs to be rested, then yeah, 100%. 100%. He needs to come in. Needs to come in from the cold. He must be fucking freezing.
And something
actually, you know what? Okay, so let's swap it around. I was doing this based on what I think Moyes would do, right?
Yeah. Do it on what you would do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I've just seen it in the chat because I'm thinking if we're bringing Kehrer in, then I'd be more inclined to put Kehrer where Mavropanos is. But I was doing
in the stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was doing it what Moyes would possibly do because I think Moyes has got a huge problem with Kehrer. So I'll be surprised if he starts Kehrer because he probably should have started him against Fulham or he would have started somewhere else in the season already. But if it was my choice, yes, put Kehrer CDM then and then put Mavropanos back where Zuma would have been.
Pull him back there.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what?
I was basing it upon Moyes' choices, you know what I mean?
Now, do you know what? All of a sudden, you've got what looks like a team there.
I think so.
You've got a solid looking team. You've got Kehrer who can just add, because that's what a CDM is. People forget that. It's quite, when you look at Alvarez's best games that he's had for us, it's when he's just been sitting on his own in front of that back line with two eights in front of him, like against Brighton. He just throws his body in a line. He's a tackler. He's aggressive. Kehrer can do that. Mavropanos could do that. He's a defender in front of the defenders. Also, you need to be able to pass. Kehrer can pass. He's quite progressive as well. He's quite quick. And he ain't the tallest. He ain't the tallest guy. I think he's about 6 foot, but he's still decent in the air. You know, he's still got a little bit of height to him. And Paqueta is so much better when you play him deeper. I don't care what anyone says. I really think he is. But you know what I would do, John?
Go on.
And this has been laughed at by so many people. I would hook James Ward-Prowse. I would.
Well, you've got a vendetta against him.
No, it ain't. It ain't. It's not a vendetta. No, because this is what I wanted to do the other day. I want a completely new midfield. These two are eights. You control the fucking midfield. You put these two, all that energy, all that aggression, all that technical ability. If you want to control a game, put them two in the middle. They can act as a pivot. One can sit, the other one can go. They can take turns. And then what you do is you actually put a left footer out on the left wing, someone who needs minutes. And that for me is Maxwell Cornet.
Right, okay.
So you put Cornet out on the left. You know, he's got just as much pace as Kudus, just as much pace. He's a good finisher as well. We know he's got a bit of an issue keeping on side, but that's a threatening left hand side as well. Emerson, and look at that. So if you look at this side there, look, Cornet, Kudus, and Emerson on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side, you've got Soufal doing his overlapping runs with Bowen and Paqueta, and you got 3 centre backs there basically. That's cover. That's plenty of cover.
I mean, the assumption is that Alvarez is not playing tomorrow, but he probably will be, won't he?
Huh?
The assumption is we're doing this based on Alvarez not being available, but he probably will be tomorrow, won't he?
Yeah. Leonardo. Hang on. Leonardo says he isn't an 8. He is an 8. I'm telling you he is. If you go back and look at his history playing for Ajax, playing for Ghana, he can play in any of those positions. He can play in the advanced positions. But when he came into West Ham, he wanted assurances. This was in the Athletic. He wanted assurances because he basically occupies the exact same spot in a team that Paqueta was occupying last year, which is the 8 position on the left hand side. That is where and what he said was can we both play in the same team? Because he's a left-sided 8. That's he controls the game. We know that he can play further up. He's a great player. You can play him as a forward.
Listen. Kudus strikes me as a player who can almost play anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
I think he's one of them players that he seems to make a lot of things look very easily, very early on in his career at West Ham. So I wouldn't, whether he's an 8 or not, your argument between you and Leonardo, but for me, I think he'd do a job anywhere almost.
I just think when you're struggling to control a game, look, I've had it before in sometimes the team that I've got can be a bit top heavy, the under 15s. In games where you're struggling to control games or you're being overrun, you know, sometimes your forward players can be like your most technical players. They're the quickest, they're the strongest. You pull them back, you put them in the middle, you stick them, you pad it out. It completely transforms things. You know, all of a sudden you'll start playing a different style of football. And I just think if you want to control a game, which I don't think David Moyes does, you could do something like that. Personally, you're probably right. You probably would end up not playing Cornet, and you would be playing Kudus over there, and you would be playing either a James Ward-Prowse or a Soucek in there. And I'd be happy with that as well. I'd be happy with that as well. Yeah.
If we work on the logic that Alvarez is going to play, so you put Alvarez in for Kehrer, and no disrespect to Kehrer, I think that looks even better.
Well, I think this looks even better.
Yeah, I know personally. Kehrer for Soufal.
Yeah. So
I think ideally after the Fulham game as well.
I think he does. He does. He busts his arse, doesn't he? He's, like I say, you can't criticise him. He's an honest, hard-working player, but he's very limited. But I mean, if you want to do that, I mean, that is a top 6 team. It is, and I know the elephant in the room is Mabama. It is, but you don't know. Give him a run of games. I think he's looked very busy, and if he's got players around him, we saw with City tonight when they went away to Red Star Belgrade, they played a 20-year-old up front from their under 21s.
Did you see that one of the kids who scored for them tonight? I think his name's Hamilton. There's a fantastic image of, and I remember the incident in the Champions League game about 4 or 5 years ago when he was a ball boy and Pep Guardiola was whispering in his ear hole to say, speed up the pros and all that. And now he's come on tonight and scored 5 years later.
There you go. That's like have you seen the Beckham documentary on Netflix?
I ain't seen it yet, no, if I'm honest.
Right, it gives you a bit of insight into Alex Ferguson and the way that he pulls kids from the youth team, and he gets them at a young age. He gets them in and around the team. He pulls them into the changing room. He gets them all. He does. He looks after them. You know, he took a keen interest in the youth academy, and that's how it should be done, John, isn't it?
It is. Of course, it is. You get them involved from a young age. You get them all buying into it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a good point here from Mickey Smith, and I put it up because he doesn't make many good points. Chris Houghton, who's the Ghanaian international manager, says that
best in central midfield. He is. On my life, and people won't believe that because, and that's the thing. Kudus is amazing, and John's right. You could play him anywhere, and we have played him anywhere. We've played him central as a striker. We've played him on the right-hand side. He can do all of that. He can. But when you're in a situation where we're struggling to control a game, and that midfield is non-existent, honestly, I think Paqueta and, for a start, Paqueta and Kudus would try and outdo each other if you played them in the middle. I think they would outdo anyone in terms of legs, heart, you know, and also with Alvarez behind him. If you have got Alvarez, John, you ain't got to worry about one of them losing the ball, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kudus is really strong, isn't he? He's a strong player.
Mate, he's built like a brick shithouse. You know, like a lot of players come in and they struggle with the physicality.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Top man.
He's nowhere near struggling with the physicality. He's like literally like a refined ball in a china shop.
Yeah.
I mean, the other week someone bounced off him. The other week he took the ball down on his chest. It was like he just looks like a man mountain, and I think he's physically strong, and he is physically strong. So I think he's more than capable of playing pretty much anywhere in midfield. Anyway, I think he's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Rupert says Kehrer for Soufal. Soufal's earned it. Look, at the end of the day, Soufal didn't earn it when he came back in last time when Johnson was playing absolutely phenomenally. He threw his toys out of the pram, went on check, basically made threats when he went on to the check press, straight back in. Johnson's been shit ever since. When Kehrer came in, he played at right centre back, left back. He played right back. He's had no chance really to sort of settle into the team. If you're talking about the ability in the players, Kehrer is a far superior player to Soufal. Far superior. He's far better technically. He's quicker. He loves a tackle. He's better in one-on-one. Soufal can't stop anyone in a one-on-one.
I think the thing is as well is what people have got to realise is we've got the better squad that we've had for a long time.
Yeah.
To keep all the squad interested, fit, it needs rotation is a key.
Yeah.
Key part of keeping your squad happy, fit, and on the ball.
You know, Emery wants Kehrer. Why does Emery want Kehrer?
He knows what he's about, doesn't he? I mean, I know Kehrer's made mistakes, and I know, but who hasn't made mistakes for us?
Yeah.
If you get rid of a player instantaneously for making a couple of mistakes, then you're never really going to have a set squad ever because everyone makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
And it depends on the football that you play as well. I think when you play an attacking game and you play a high risk game. So you I think you almost factor in, you cost in mistakes into that type of setup because you've got to think, well, yeah, we will leak some goals, we'll make some mistakes, but we'll yield more because we're taking more chances, we're getting forward, we're creating more. So, you know, I think people just get with us, it's fatal. If you make an error, it's fatal. And I made this point the other day, John. I don't know whether you agree with this or not.
Go on.
When you look at us this season and the fact that we have hemorrhaged 30 goals in 16 games, so it's almost 2 goals a game, playing a low block. Every game there's mistakes. It's either Aguerd, it's either Mavropanos, Zuma, Alvarez, Soufal, Kehrer, whoever you put back there, they make mistakes. Are these players shit or is the problem systemic at that point? If it's every game you're making mistakes, is the problem the players or is the problem something else at this point?
If everyone's making mistakes, then it is something else. It's a lack of something, whatever you want to call it. But also from a managerial and a coach's perspective, I'm not going to call it a low block because if the sitting deep is not reaping the rewards in terms of you're still letting goals in and it ain't working, why are you still doing it? Why are you still doing it? You know, if you're allowing people to come onto you and you're sitting deep and we're letting goals in left, right, because this is very un-Moyes-like. The letting in of goals. Let's be honest. Let's give him credit where credit's due. We were
85 goals since the start of last season, and that was with Declan Rice. So we conceded loads last season. So across both seasons, this season and last season, we're on minus 17 goal difference.
What, in the Prem?
In the Premier League.
All competitions?
No, in the Premier League.
So last season, and how many goals?
Across 55. We let in 55 goals last season.
What's that, like 1.5 a game? Yeah, it's more than I thought, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've been defensively shit for a while, and that was with Declan Rice.
But it seems more noticeable this year, the goals conceded, no? Is it because we're conceding every game this year, isn't it?
Yeah, and the reason we was worse last year, we was conceding the same amount of goals even with Declan Rice, if we're being honest, but we weren't scoring as many. We seem to be scoring more this year, which is why we've kind of got more, especially early on. You know, we was quite clinical early on, weren't we? But yeah, it's the football style is the same. It's fucking hell. I don't know, and this is why it bothers me. What you said earlier on, because we only need a draw, and you think if David Moyes needs a draw, he'll get one. In Europe, maybe you're right. In Europe, he seems to get what he needs in Europe, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the cup competitions are about getting through to the next round and all that. I get that, you know, but I just think that if you look at it logically, if we are shipping goals in, don't invite them on because They'll want to win.
This is what we've been saying. And if you've got a backline there, it doesn't matter what combination you use, they're all making mistakes. Clearly, there's because I think, you know, if you play this way that Moyes plays, which requires, you know, 100%. You know, you imagine how draining that would be for a defender to be that switched on for 90 minutes, that intensity when it's constantly coming at you all the time. You'd need like fucking Maldini and Baresi and defenders like that back there to not make mistakes. You would, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. And we proved it against Spurs anyway, John. You know, we sat back in our own 18-yard box. We was lucky that game weren't fucking out of sight by half time. And second half, we pushed them back, didn't we? You know, we kind of went further up the pitch.
On the two occasions that I've been overly happy, both against
Arsenal and that one.
Yeah, I was happy Brighton, I was happy Chelsea, of course I was, but to some extent we just took our chances, limited chances that we had. But the thing that impressed me with the second half Spurs performance and the Arsenal performance was the fact that we got up in their faces. We have to play like that. And that's the way to get the fan base going. Put a tackle in, be on the front foot, press them. If you're sitting back and you're sitting deep and you're waiting for somebody to shaft you, I can't see what you can expect the fan base to do about it. There's no excitement in sitting back and waiting. Going for it creates the atmosphere that you want, and the fans will respond to that, in my opinion.
And the thing is, it's all connected. You know, if the atmosphere is great in there and they're buzzing, that's going to bleed into the team as well, the same way as negativity will. You know, it's kind of, it does all play in. It's all part of this. It's quite organic, isn't it, in a football stadium? You do kind of. Yeah. It should be. But Iron Ore has made a good point here. So that lineup that we put in, you know, when we went either Mavropanos or Kehrer in that CDM role, and you could do this with Alvarez as well, by the way, because he is also he's a centre back. He played quite a bit as a centre back. You can change it around without making subs. You can go 3 at the back, push the fullbacks up, and go a 3-4-3, which, by the way, is the new shape that's being played for our academy. That is the shape of the what the under-21s play. They play a 3-4-3, and the 2 wide players are wing backs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. The thing is that there is a lot of opportunity to do stuff with that squad. There is a lot of fluidity there. There are players that can interchange positions. There is, but the problem is we are so regimental. We're so regimented, and whilst that's good to some extent, with all due respect, that's good if you're a Luton. That's good if you're a Sheffield United. But when you've got players that are, and I'm not being disrespectful to either of those teams. We've got players that are far, far better than they've got, right? We shouldn't be playing regimented, unfluid football. We should have players that are happy to interchange and can interchange and are allowed to express themselves and show the best of the team in the squad.
As you can see, when we're sort of just dicking around with that kind of graphic there now, when we tried to do it before, the team almost picks itself. It shouldn't pick itself now. We've got a lot of players. Yeah, exactly, you can look at it, and there's so many things that you can do. And Corral says, with so many important games in such a brief period, it is compacted at the moment. It's nothing but lunacy, fear, ignorance, and stubbornness by Moyes. And it is. He should have rotated. I mean, to kind of to not prepare for this, and not, especially after what happened last year, because it was around about this period when it all went to shit last year, and that's when you turned, when we lost to Palace. We started losing those games because the same thing happened then. Why did he not look at this, John, and go, right, we've got games every 3 days. I've got to get these players up to scratch. Even especially the ones that are not on it at the moment. I've got to put my arm around them. Your Fornals. I'm going to need them. I'm going to need Fornals. I'm going to need Cornet. I'm going to need to big these players up a little bit because I'm going to need them in that period. But he don't do that, does he?
No, but he's not going to change the habit of a lifetime, is he?
No.
He look, I love what Moyes done for us and has done for us. I don't care what anyone says. The problem is that he's stuck in his ways. He's very. It's almost like the fear of the unknown. You know, he won't take risks because he's never taken risks, and he would rather lose doing it his own way than lose trying something different. Why? I don't know.
Absolutely. And this Jonathan Boyce here hits a nail on the head as well. Moyes chooses a 4-3-3 and then fits whoever he can into that formation. The tactics and formation should be dictated by the players you've got, and not the other way around. 100%. And look, it's hard to knock him when he first came in because he did well when he first came in. But that the same can be said. You know, our struggle for a striker. You know, we had Haller, whose head had already dropped by the time he came in. But you can, if you got the right man, you can lift players. You know, Anderson's gone over to Lazio and done really well. When you take over a job or as a manager, you're taking over the assets of that team as well. You can't just go, oh well, the last manager bought them, fuck them. You can't do that. You know, when
the problem is with the striker situation, Nick, is that the striker that Moyes is looking for, you would have found loads of them 15, 20 years ago. Duncan Ferguson, Kevin Campbell, James Beattie, strikers like that. Those strikers don't exist now. The striker that he wants to play the same way that he wants to play, them strikers don't exist anymore because football's changed. So you don't get those strikers around. Very rarely do you get those old school battering ram type strikers, which is what we've got with Antonio.
Have you seen the latest story from The Athletic on Danny Ings?
Go on.
Danny Ings was a David Moyes signing. So not in January, but David Moyes wanted him in the summer. David Moyes has been chasing Danny Ings for a long time. He tried to sign him for Sociedad. I knew that much. So he tried to sign him in the summer. Sullivan didn't sanction it, apparently. Obviously, it started to go to shit. So Sullivan went out and got him. He went and got him. And he was over the moon that he got Danny Ings. So Danny Ings is a David Moyes striker. In what world does Danny Ings fit a David Moyes system?
I've been at work today. Was that article out today?
It's been out today. It's on Twitter. Yeah, Rashane Thomas.
That is absolute. That has absolutely blown my mind. If that's true, that is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard. If that's true, because that goes against everything he stands for. That goes against any system that somebody like Danny Ings would be viable for. He's not going to play he's not going to play different style of football.
I think the fact that he's persisted with him for so long as well, and it's taken him so long to drop him, speaks volumes as well. I think he's obviously just not what he expected. I don't know. I've got no idea.
Yeah, but mate, I'm absolutely blown. My mind's blown. I'm speechless with that. I can't believe that that's true. I cannot believe that that's actually true.
Yeah, no, it's there. So have a look at The Athletic. Rashane Thomas is on Twitter. But you can go back and you can look if you type in on Google David Moyes to sign Danny Ings for Sociedad. He tried for ages to get Danny Ings over there.
I remember that link. I remember that link, but that was before Moyes came to us.
Well, that's when Ings was at Burnley when he was younger.
Yeah, but in what system would he fit Moyes' systems ever? At what point has Moyes ever played anybody like Danny Ings?
He don't play up front on his own. Danny Ings never has done.
No, that's crazy. No, and
I know.
You know, look, Danny Ings is not trash. He's not. He's made to look trash.
I could guarantee you, Mark, if he went to Burnley, he would score goals. If he played in that Vincent Kompany team, because what they lack, even though they've started scoring now, they lack a cutting edge. But they create chances. They play football. I think he'd score goals there.
Rupert says if it's on Twitter, it's got to be true, but it's from The Athletic. It's not. It's
from The Athletic. It's from The Athletic. Yeah, Rashane Thomas, who is the West Ham correspondent that speaks to David Moyes in the press conferences.
Yeah, I think he might be. I don't think Rupert likes us.
No. But look, anyway, mate. Go through the last few comments and then we'll wrap up because these are only short ones. These ones.
Actually, Nicholas says Steidten must have either been assured control or be a great salesman because surely he wouldn't damage his reputation by joining us. Good point.
Yeah, no, I know.
Ings is too slow for the Prem. You definitely put goals in for Burnley. Jonathan Boyce says he would score goals on the team you created earlier with all the chances made. Yeah.
You're probably right. You're probably right. Yeah, with Kudus and Bowen around him and somebody behind him that can provide a threat as well. Imagine being a forward with Kadus and Paqueta behind you.
Listen, the forward just wants chances.
Fucking hell! Imagine that. That'd be
mental. Any forward would want chances created, and if you come to West Ham, you don't like it because of his podcast, but Antonio was 100% right. You live off scrap, and that's it.
Yeah, that is true. Right, John, wrap it up. Go on. You did a close down.
Right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all watching. Quite a lot of people in the chat, so don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, it's been a good chat, to be honest with you. If you haven't already subscribed, then please do so. We're going to be back might be another daily ramble in a week with Gary. I think. I'm not sure if I'm honest.
If we get time tomorrow, depending on how the game goes, I probably won't do one tomorrow night. I'll probably do, we'll probably do one. I might do a Monday morning, a Friday morning one, or something like that. I doubt we'll come on tomorrow after the game.
No, maybe not. But yeah, I'll be at the game tomorrow, so hopefully we win. And thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
A difficult 2 games, a Thursday, Sunday away from home at Tottenham and Fulham. So if you give me 3 points before the 2 games, I think I'd have taken 3 points off you.